Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the awarding of the Department of Conservation and Recreation funds to the Tom Lopes Park and Community Sculpture Project. Tom Lopes was the first Cape Verdean elected as a representative to the Massachusetts State House. He was the publisher of the Cape Verdean News and a longtime city and neighborhood advocate. The Tom Lopes Park was created 2 years ago and is located at the corner of County and Washington Street in New Bedford. In the park, you'll find a life-size bronze sculpture of Tom that was created by local artist Eric Durant and dedicated in a ceremony in October of 2016. We're going to begin today's program with Jackie Pina, the president of the Tom Lopes Community Sculpture Project.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Tony. I am just so thrilled and happy that we're finally here and we can complete the project by getting the bricks in place. And please pass the word that they can go to Tom Lopes Park. What is it?
Tom Lopes
Community Sculpture? Okay. And there's information there for people to purchase bricks for the park. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's been 2 years we've been doing this, and I'm just very delighted and blessed to be a part of this. Tom came to me through a meeting with Terry from Whale to do this park. So I don't want to hold anybody up because there's things we want to say, but I just want to tell everybody that was involved and that is still involved. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Next up, we're inviting Deborah Ramos, Tom's sister, who will be representing his family.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, you all know my name is Debbie, and my sisters, Patricia, Lenora, Dolores. We all have such fond memories of my brother, and today, on behalf of my family, we thank you for attending this afternoon in honor of our brother. Approximately 6 years ago, opportunity came knocking at my door. That was Jackie Pina. The opportunity to help the youth and families of the South End, and the project that led to doing the sculpture. Jackie was so positive about this, and people kept saying that, that was too much money, we would never get it done. But she, sat there and said we could do it. And when we all thought about how much my brother was loved and all the people in the community that came together, we continued on that path. And eventually, through Whale, Terry Burnett, and the City of New Bedford Parks Department, Mary Reposa, a new project was created, the Tom Lopes Community Sculpture Fund Park, where a team of 6 or 7 ventured into the task of raising $40,000, $50,000 to turn a blighted corner into a welcome tribute on my brother Tommy's achievements. For the love of his city and the Cape Verdean heritage, we, the Lopes family, are so grateful that Antonio Cabral, he was a really good friend to my brother. My brother loved him and admired him very much, that he came through for us. And we most of all thank you, Tony, for your persistence on the Hill and in believing that everything you do makes a difference. in this case, a big difference in the community. And we thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah. We're going to invite Len Ramos up next, and he's going to lead you through the process that got us to this point.
I'm trying to keep this down to one page, and every once in a while I'm going to look down because I don't remember everyone's names. But going back to my wife when she said opportunity knocked and it was Jackie, I call that basically forced kidnapping. Because she grew up with my wife. I was born and raised in the West End. I had nothing to do with Monte Playground until I saw my wife walking by one day and I stopped the car. So, and I guess from that point on, I inherited her friends, her cousins, and everyone else. Now, to get more into what this is really all about, and my wife kind of led us to know about her brother. He was more than just to New Bedford. He has had a newspaper, the Cape Verdean News, was global. There were people in Australia that were subscribing to the Cape Verdean News so they could keep abreast of what was going on in New Bedford, Boston, Providence, wherever the case may be. Since his passing, it's been a big void to the community. When Jackie and my wife got together and they sat me down, they expressed about what they wanted to do with NeighborWorks, about trying to turn the South End area that they were brought up in and no longer call it South Central. We would not call it South Central, we would call it South End, in particular the Bay Village area. There were a lot of problems going on. So one of our first projects was to actually put flower boxes together, and we went around and put them on homes and on Acushnet Avenue and Purchase Street and so forth. That winter, we also got into the city, had a wreath. You put a wreath on your doors. We actually won a gift for helping people put wreaths on their doors. One thing led to another, and all of a sudden it came that Jackie, and particularly Jackie, ran across Terry Burnett from Whale, Mary, with the Recreation Department, and that open piece of land that was just sitting down here on County and South 6th Street was just no longer, you couldn't build a home on it. All you could do is just watch it collect dirt and cans and bottles from the liquor store across the street. So they asked, what can we do? Jackie came back to a meeting, and the 6 or 7 of us that she mentioned was actually Jack Livermento, Dina Abreu, Rose Peener, Colleen Caldwell, my wife, and myself. With the help of Whale and the City Recreation Department, the Mayor's Office, it's kind of, and the City Council, because you had to go through all those technicalities, you know, you want to get one thing done, you got to go through like 1,000 people, and everybody wants to know, what are you doing, what are you going to do, what do you plan on? It becomes somewhat of a burden to just say, gee, we're trying to help clean up the area. The major drawback to this whole project was, we have a piece of land for you, what would you like to see? We would like to see the statue commemorating Tom Lopes. Okay, get a sculptor. Now the reality set in. $40,000, I can put a statue over there for you. And for $40,000, that's what you see right now. It's a bronze statue. That statue is going to be there as long as the whaleman stays out here in front of in the library. People today still come up to me and most others saying, gee, that's, you know, it looks great. Some people, even in the wintertime, put scarves around his neck and stocking caps on his head because they figure it's cold out. The $40,000, we figured we could do that with like a snap of the fingertips. Doesn't work that way. On November 10th, 2014, we opened the Tom Lopes Sculpture Fund with a deposit of $505. The task of raising $40,000 just for the statue seemed like a dream that was now becoming a nightmare. With the help of NeighborWorks, Bay Coast Bank, the Island Foundation, and it's always nice Cape Verde is stretched near and far to have friends in some of these corners. The New Bedford Cultural Council, our frown that we have, that I was walking around with, my frown turned upside down and became a smile all the time because I just figured we're going to raise $40,000 and nobody's going to stop this. With the help of NeighborWorks and the rest, we actually raised $18,000 between the Island Foundation and so forth. So we were still $22,000 short, but we figured we had plenty of time to do this. Net income from our outside fundraisers, you can only sell so much manchu. You can only have so many Geechee dances, tapes. We had a film with kids that were in the neighborhood that they actually went around and interviewed Bonnie Frank, and they interviewed State Senator. I think they interviewed you as well, Tony, and a few others. It was an educational part for kids in regards to Tom Lopes. We still have a lot of those CDs around. But the bottom line, we needed to raise $22,000 more. So from the fundraisers, it was $1,200. And memorial pavers, those are the bricks that we had people, we asked, would you like to purchase a memorial brick for whatever? Everywhere, oh yeah. We ended up with about 140 brick pavers sold, which brought in another $9,800. We had to use that money to help pay off the sculptor. We now needed $11,000 to finish the project, just so that the sculptor would no longer have to call City Hall and the other departments wondering where the Tom Lopes Sculpture Fund was. So a quote that's often used but not always believed: God is good. Okay, I'm glad you all got onto that one, right? It rang true as Debbie and I received an $11,000 interest-free loan to complete this project. And when you tell people interest-free in this day and age, it's kind of like, no, that's not happening. Well, we got the money. We have to pay it back. But the best part was it was someone that was really close to Tom and the family and felt that this is what they had to do. Lo and behold, when we were at the groundbreaking for the unveiling, the gentleman I'm going to introduce next, Representative Cabral, came up to me and he said, "Len, how much do you need to finish the project?" And I sat there and I went, well, we owe 11, we owe some other, we owe for the bricks. I mean, I'm going down there and I finally came up with a figure of 20,000, and he went, "Are you sure you don't need 30? And I went, I don't want to go and shoot myself in the foot by asking for more than what's out there. So 2 years ago, Tony had this included in his state budget. And then all the frowns came back. People were wondering, where's the pavers? They see the statue, but where's the pavers? If you were on the committee, you had a duck when you were walking down the street. If you had any connection with the Lopes family, you had to duck. because people were asking, where's the bricks? It gives me great pleasure. He can tell you what's coming is financially. But with his efforts, and after going through 2 budgets and being put on the back burner twice, and then all of a sudden we were raised up. He called me one day, I think it was Alves called me. Alves Medeiros, I got his phone number memorized now. But he called up and he said, guess what? The state got some more money and this one's for real. This one's for real, and I didn't even ask how much. I went online real quick, found out how much. And without further ado, my brother-in-law's one of his best friends. He had a few, but one of his best friends, State Representative Tony Cabral, will fill you in on his act in part in the finalization of what we're about to hear.
Well, let me begin by thanking Jackie and Debbie and Lenny and Mary on behalf of the city, and also Whale and the entire family and the committee. I mean, this has been long coming, but I think we are here today, and it's a celebration. As you know, the state budget sometimes has these quirky things. Sometimes takes a little time to deliver. As Lenny mentioned, we secured in the budget, and then at some point the governor held the money up because they wasn't sure the fiscal condition that the state was in, and they did 9 seat cuts, and this is one of the items that was cut. So the following year we came back again. As I had said to Lenny, we were going to get this done, and we're going to get it done because, you know, Tom, as you know, was a good friend of mine, but someone was not only a good friend of mine, but someone was a leader in this community. The first Cape Verdean American to be elected to the state legislature. Someone who worked tirelessly to make this community a better place for all of us. Someone who loved the South End or South Central, depending on how you want to call it. Right? We call it South Central. South End is for the South, right? I know, Lenny had to get a lesson on that. You know? Weren't you glad you went to South Central?
Yes, I traveled.
You finally traveled and ran into a fantastic person and a fantastic family, really. You know? So, and the story goes on. But you know, Tom was tireless when it came to the Cape Verdean American community, but also when it came to New Bedford and to the youth of this city, and to the youth of South Central and the South End and the West End and the North End, you name it. Tom didn't have necessarily favorites. He cared about everyone and give opportunities to everyone. He always had his camera and his video camera, and that was also a photo camera at the same time. And he did great work with the newspaper in projecting all the positive things about the community, in particular the Cape Verdean community. It was not about negative news, it was about positive news. You know, he wanted to everyone to know the good things that were happening in the community. And that used to drive him, that used to inspire him. And, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with Tom in many things and talk to Tom many times. He had great advice. He was a wise man. Knew the community very well, and had obviously opinions, right? And he had passion, but always moving from a positive perspective. So, with all that said, I think this initiative was probably one of the best initiatives I've seen rising from the community in terms of being able to recognize someone from this community forever, in other words. That statue, that sculpture will be there for generations to come. And we want young people to go by, or people of all ages and say, who was that? Why does he deserve such a prominent place in the city of New Bedford? And that's a learning, it's going to be a learning and education process for all of us, for everybody, and for generations to come. And they will know. They don't have to go very far. They can go to the library, they can go to the archives of the newspaper in this town, and they can go to the Cape Verde News. And they can go to the state legislature. He is there, his name is there, in the journals of the House, forever. Someone who gave back to his community, never forgot his roots, and someone who was dear to his family. He cared about his family very deeply. So today, we have the final product. Took a couple of budget cycles, but we finally got it done. And it is the amount of $30,000 that will be going to the committee to finish all the other projects, including the pavers and other things, right? So I do have the check here. It's a real check. Big ones, right? They usually sign. This is the real thing, right? This is the real thing. It's right here. You can see the treasure of the Commonwealth, and you can see the seal of the Commonwealth here. This is the real stuff, right? So it looks small. It's the real thing, all right? So congratulations. Let's move and let's get the rest of the project done. And so all of us can enjoy, the whole community can enjoy this project. This is for Tom. Yes.
Things. Could you sit down, because I guess you're in the camera's way? Tom's daughter, Christine, when she came down for the unveiling of the statue, the one thing that she kind of hit me with was that she was very grateful for the work. She was very grateful for everything. You know, a lot of times her father wasn't around because he was doing photography work someplace else. But she was happy because now when she brings her sons to New Bedford, and he was their grandfather, and he used to name Jaden and my sister-in-law's, Bryce, and so forth. In his newspaper, he would have a little corner from Bryce's Corner or whatever's corner. But she was really happy because now she could take her sons and visit him and see his statue so that they'll never forget their grandfather or have to go look around for a picture. And so that meant a lot, and that's kind of what kept us going here, that's for sure. And $30,000 to the city of New Bedford, huh? All right. We have one special guest that did a lot with Tommy, and he wanted to be here today, so this is a little spice to your weekend.
So I just want to thank everyone on behalf of the City of New Bedford for all your hard work in bringing this project to us. What we've done is we've transformed that blighted spot into a beautiful park that's now a wonderful gateway to the South End community. And everyone, we really appreciate all of your effort. And as Representative Cabral said, you know, this really came from the community, and that's always the best way for projects to come forward. We're going to end this afternoon with Chops Turner, who's going to sing The Champion for us.
Ooh. know just what to do. Your dreams will all come true. Ooh. If you look inside yourself, you find your inner wealth. Your destiny's ahead. Be a champion if you believe in yourself. That you're a champion if you reach deep within, if you believe in yourself. No matter what people say, you make it anyway if you believe in yourself. When all seems to fail, reach inside yourself if you believe in yourself. You're a champion, you believe. Oh, if you believe, and if you wanna be a champion, gotta reach deep within. Through adversity comes prosperity, for the pride that lies in all of you demands you carry through. At last my time has come to test all we've done. If you believe in yourself, set your standards high, reach for the sky. If you believe in yourself, that God created man to be a champion, believe in yourself. When all seems to fail, reach inside yourself if you believe. If you believe. And oh, if you believe in yourself, set your standards high, reach for the sky. If you believe in yourself, that God created man to be a champion, believe in yourself. When all seems to fail, reach inside yourself if you believe in yourself. If you want to be a champion, you gotta believe. If you want to achieve, believe in yourself. No matter what the people say, you're gonna make